So I'll say the movie does open up in a pretty clever way, with that Sam Raimi, the demon, kind of traveling through the woods, heading towards a girl on the docks, just to actually be a drone in first person view. I thought that was actually pretty clever. That was actually a cool idea, whoever came up with that. And I'm sure using a drone did make those shots a lot easier. Really liked the lake view, the cabin, everything. The way that this opening was shot was really beautiful. When we get to see the girl scalp the other girl, that was really fucking cool. And the death of the drone death was all right. But everything was just kind of all right. It didn't do anything that was like extremely Evil Dead feeling. I don't know. Like, it just a scalping and a drone death to me just kind of feels like we've seen drone deaths at this point a few times, and I've seen scalpings like quite a few times. So I don't know. It just wasn't as Evil Dead as I feel like it could be. They did have the girl rise out of the water and stuff, but even then, it felt like, because we don't go back to that, it almost kind of made me want to be in the cabin and in the woods a little more, which I had that same feeling with Scream with changing the setting. I was like, oh, I miss the small town feeling. But I know overall, you got to change things up. We can't just do the same thing over and over. So the city did work for me when we did get there. Okay, so now I'm just going to talk about a few of the things that worked for me and a few of the things that didn't work for me. Starting with the things that worked for me. Okay, so right away, this does feel like an Evil Dead movie. Like, fucking gory, fucking gruesome, demon possession. The voice that they use is awesome. The things that they make the demons say is just disturbing, and it just keeps getting more disturbing. I love the demon. I would buy I would buy a NECA figure of the mom. So in all of that, I mean, puking up roaches and everything, all of that, that's fucking great. All of that was awesome. It really hit home with that. And even having the Sam Raimi feel of the camera angles and the kind of the campiness, that was all there. That was all perfect. And overall, I did find myself just being able to sit back and have fun watching this like craziness go on. Man, but I have a hard time finding more than just saying that than anything else, because there was a really lack of story here. There wasn't anything that was kind of grounding the characters and making me feel like they were actually a family, and that to me was just a little bit of a problem. I guess it just depends on what you want in these movies and what you're going for. I guess, look, I already know it. This is my problem. The last one was so fucking good. Okay, that was to me. All right, so if you didn't like the last one, then maybe this one will hit home for you. This one, some people are going to find that this one is the perfect sweet spot for the Evil Dead. Some people are going to think this gets too weird. Some people are going to think that it's too serious, and they want more campiness. That's kind of the cool thing about the Evil Dead movies. There's probably one for anybody, and they'll come out with another one, and it'll probably be completely different. So I think I just kind of have to accept the fact that maybe this one doesn't give me the feels exactly that I would like, because personally I would like something a little more serious. Which I guess we're now just going to get kind of into the negatives. So I'm just going to start off with the book and how they find the book. Lame. I think that was just fucking lame, honestly. An earthquake that opens up a hole that then leads them into an old safe that then that's how they find the Necronomicon. It just kind of leads the question, like, was the earthquake already the demon? I mean, I didn't think so, but it kind of makes it seem like it's meant to be because they were in the right place at the right time. I would have just made it to where the book, like, you can have the safe and all that, but like make it behind a false wall in the cellar of the building. and this is what I said in my spoiler-free review, they did things the same as the last one, you know, going down somewhere to find the book, being trapped. You know, the stairwells were destroyed and the elevator was destroyed, so they were trapped on the floor, just like when the guy in the last one tried to leave and everything was flooded. It just seemed to work better for me in the woods and in the situation, in the setting for the first one. Especially because I did just see kind of the parallels from the first one in this one. So yeah, also the book, just the design of the book, I just didn't really really care for it. It's just a little more boring compared to what we've seen. I would actually kind of, again, that's one of those things. It's like, I feel like this movie, in certain aspects, it wants to play in slightly campy, and then in other aspects, it wants to be more serious and be really creepy. And where it decides to be campy and stuff, and where it decides to be creepy, I feel like I can't really tell if it's really what it's doing, because even like the book, it doesn't go for a really, really creepy look. It kind of goes for the teeth are creepy, but then it's just kind of veins. There's slight humor from the kids, which sometimes it lands, you know, because it's just kind of so out of nowhere. I'll say this. Okay, here's my biggest negative right here. I'm coming in close. Nobody acts like they give a shit about this mom. Nobody. I mean, holy shit, not a fucking wet eye in this whole goddamn movie. Everyone is fucking dry. Like, the most you get out of the kid crying is like just a pouty face and everybody starts talking like this. That's fucking it. Like, nobody's crying. And that's the problem for me, because I thought, by the tone of the trailer, I guess, and the last one, I thought they were going to go into a really, like, you're going to really feel the terror, you know, because that is what I did feel in the last one. I mean, it was like, fucking, you remember the girl with the nail gun? Like, holy shit. Like, the way that the characters were reacting in the first, I keep saying the first one, in the first of these reboots, the way that those characters were reacting to their friends being possessed was like spot on. And when it comes to horror movies, it really is about the reactions to me, how the characters are reacting to their danger is how I'm going to feel. So when a mom dies and nobody's crying, I like, okay, I mean, I'm at that point, I'm just like, all right, I'm all along for the ride, but like, I guess we're just gonna see a bunch of shit happen. Again, along for the ride. Yeah. So I think what it comes down to was just like having kids and having it around a family. You can have it around a family. I would have just made it adults. There was just nothing in these characters that made me feel like they were all connected and that they were even a family. Nobody felt like a family to me. They tried to throw in aspects of the sister, the aunt being pregnant. That went nowhere. I just feel like it was kind of missing that, like, that sisterhood camaraderie. That you know, something that was like a grounded story. The way we got it in the last one, you know, I kind of, that was the only thing missing, is that last one had a good brother and sister kind of dynamic between Mia and her brother. I can't remember her brother's name, but there was just that good, like, bond with her being an addict and him not giving up on her, even though all the friends kind of know more, and they really did a good job of expressing that they had history just by the way that all the characters were acting towards each other. And that is what I was expecting out of this, especially with the things that they set up in this. They had a lot to work with. I mean, the pregnancy, the sister being, her husband had just left, which I don't know why, but that gave me ET vibes. I don't know why, but like the pizza and the dad leaving and the kind of awkwardness with that at the dinner, like there was just something that took me back to ET. Yeah, there was just, I was missing that thing. I was missing that, like, even at the end of the last one, you had it to where he was still trying to save his sister, and there was no trying to save her sister in this one. It was just like they fucking gave up on this mom. Like this mom was done, and they're like, all right, like even when they thought she died, they're like she died, and then even when she came back, they're like fuck, she's alive. Like, all right, and then she's got, like, I don't know, like nobody seemed to really fucking give a fuck about this mom. Again, another thing that they kind of just did that we've seen before is the elevator scene when she is getting wrapped up with the wires. It was cool. It was fine. I mean, it was kind of just like you're kind of just seeing the same thing, but in a different way. And that's kind of what this movie is. You know, you're just kind of seeing the same thing in a different way. There are some deaths were really cool that I liked, or just some brutal shit, you know, just some gore. The cheese grater was fucking holy shit. That made my skin crawl. Guy gets his eye taken out. I'll say this. Okay. The use of CGI is interesting in this movie because sometimes I'm like, that needed to be better. And then there's other times where I'm like, that looked good, but I can still tell. And then there were times where I'm sure it just did its job and I couldn't tell. So the use of CGI is interesting, except for one thing, which I'll just skip to the end here. That was kind of the biggest letdown for me. The big monster thing, the giant CGI monster that they had to keep in the light, because that's what you do when you have a CGI monster and you can't afford a giant budget. That didn't work for me. That didn't work for me at all. Like, I just, as soon as that thing started and they kept not showing it, like, you don't show them all. I understand the whole, like, keeping the monster in the shadows, less is more and everything, but this is your climax. Like, that only works if the monster is throughout the movie and you're doing a hide and seek kind of thing. Yeah, then you keep the monster in the shadows. That's scary. But if the monster is your big climax and it's this creepy fucking grotesque thing, then you got to show your fucking monster. You can't just keep shadowing it. And just the look of it didn't work for me. When things are, look, I'm cool with the weird body horror. Body horror is something that actually genuinely does creep me out. The Fly was one of the creepiest fucking movies when I was a kid. That was like one of the first to really disturb me. And Cronenberg shit, it's very Cronenberg at the end, but it just doesn't, it looks like mashed potatoes with arms. It just doesn't work for me. It's just three people like fused together, and it just didn't work. I found myself just not scared of it. It just didn't look creepy to me. I just looked like three people fused together with arms sticking out of it. But that being said, my wife, she walked out of this thing kind of being a little underwhelmed. She was like, I wasn't, it's kind of ironic. This is the first movie we've walked out of where she goes, I wasn't all that scared. Like, after a while, I was kind of freaked out at first, and it had some jumpy things, but I wasn't all that scared. I just started looking at it, and it was, part of it was just funny. She didn't fucking sleep at all last night. She was so grumpy when she woke up because every time she would just close her eyes, she would start having nightmares. And that is the first time in 7 years that's ever happened. So, that's kind of the perfect metaphor in a way for this movie, because it's like, yeah, you can walk out, somebody can walk out thinking it's not that scary and goofy and shit, and then they have nightmares all night about it. So it's just, it's kind of funny. And again, like, what an Evil Dead thing to do to someone. Like, really, what a fucking Evil Dead thing to do. Is make you laugh in the movie and then give you nightmares. I don't know. I hate that I'm just like kind of bashing on it. I don't want to feel like I didn't like it. I did mention that I am going to buy it on Blu-ray. I'm not going to go like 4K or nothing with it. It'll be a fun one to just put on with, you know, during October. We only get so many fucking horror movies that are even tolerable. You know what I mean? So, and that have a fun aspect and they're doing stuff. I'll say this, when the movie gets going, once the mom's possessed, it gets going. Things just, you know, it's going nonstop. There is a peephole scene that I thought was fucking hilarious. And again, very Evil Dead, very funny but brutal at the same time. You're just watching the mom just destroy people throughout the fucking hallway. So that was pretty good. The way that they wrap up the end with the beginning, again, just kind of another thing that we've seen before. It didn't really do anything for me. It was just kind of one of those, okay, that's what the beginning was. Because honestly, I was kind of like, why does the beginning have nothing to do with this? But then it kind of like, you're like, oh, it does. But then I was just kind of like, well, now she's in the lake. Where's that going? I want to see that. I want to know. Now, I really wouldn't mind if they just like picked up right where this one started with the girl floating out of the lake. Like, I would love to just see where that's all going now, because I feel like that's happening and I'm not there to watch it. So that was, I don't know, maybe that's just me. That might be a me problem. It'd be funny now if, I don't know, maybe the next one, I don't know, they can go anywhere with this now. They can go full humor, they can go full serious. That's fun, I guess. This one, personally, for me, it's not my favorite. It's not my least favorite. These movies would be interesting to rank because I honestly don't know where this one would go. The last one, it's not better than the last one for me. I can put on the last one and watch it again, but I feel like this one's gonna grow on me. I feel like this one over time, it's gonna move up. You know what I mean? Oh, did I talk about the kids? I talked about the kids in the fucking... We get it. All I ask is that somebody cry. That's all. I'm literally just asking for people to fucking cry and for like the kid to cry. Because if the kid ain't crying, then nobody's fucking giving a fuck. So, I don't know. Like, I feel like it's like an 80-20 kind of split. Like, I definitely liked more. It just, I think I went in with different expectations. That's all. That's on me. Over time, I'm sure this movie will get more fun. If you haven't watched it and you just don't care about spoilers and all that, hope I did a decent job. I know it wasn't so much like going into exact detail on what the movie was exactly, but I'm hoping, you know, maybe after you watch the movie and then you watch spoilers, that's kind of what I do. I like to get people's opinions after I watch movies and get their whole deep and detailed idea of what they thought. So that's mine. Overall, like I said, I had a good time. Hey, if you liked this video and you're still fucking here, that's cool. That means a lot. That's awesome. Maybe check out something else, because there's more of me talking. There's more videos of me talking on this page, and you can go check them out. And then you can listen to them, and then you can maybe like one or two. And if you like them, I'll see it, and then I'll know you liked it. And then maybe one day, if you like enough of them, you'll go, hey, you know what? Maybe I should subscribe to this guy because I like these videos and he's got some stuff to say and I agree with it.